Guys, so let's have a conversation as to why I need reparations. So right now I'm going to go live and I'm going to have a discussion because I'm going to show you what I'm doing currently. Currently, I am packaging food for the less fortunate. I am making sandwiches for them and packaging them into these sandwich bags, and I'm putting them into my cooler here. And I'm going to repeat this process all day long. This is why I need reparations, because the government doesn't want to do this work, and I'll do it. That's fine. You don't want to feed the less fortunate. I'll do it. So I'm gonna take my own time and my own money to go and do that. That's why I need reparations, because my people, foundational Black Americans, we are known to feed the less fortunate. So if the government doesn't want to do it, fine, we'll do it. Fine. That's something that I care about doing, something that I'm passionate about, something that I care about. I care about my community and I care about hunger. And I want to see that solved. So if the government doesn't want to solve the problem, fine, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. In fact, we're going to be working as the live stream's going. So right now I'm making sandwiches, and it's for the less fortunate, and right now I'm packaging into the bags. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these bags here, and I'm writing pork on there because these are pork sandwiches. So pork, and then I take 2 sandwiches, whatever I choose, it's going to go in there. Then I take a Capri Sun, but this time I think I'm going to switch over to the hub. So turn it sideways, take a Kool-Aid jammer, put it down in the bag. Then I take a Chewy bar, bag of chips, and peanut butter snack. Also put it down in the bag. This is why I need reparations, because I'm doing this for free with my own money, me and my wife. We're doing this for free with our own money, and the government doesn't care about the community. The government doesn't want to feed homeless people, so I'll feed them. But I need the money in the apparatus. I need the money in the apparatus to go and do that. I need the money to actually go out into the community and actually go feed the homeless like the government won't do. I'll gladly do it. This is something that I get up to do. You know, it brings me joy. It brings me pleasure to make sure other people are taken care of. You know, that's something that I truly do care about. And the fact that the government thinks that my people, who is the most oppressed people in this country, don't deserve reparations after I'm sitting here trying to feed the homeless, I don't understand what's the malfunction here. But if I'm going to be doing this, I don't need to be doing it for doggone free. I don't want to apply for a government grant. I don't want to apply for anything with the government. I just want them to cut the check so that I can take care of my people, because disproportionately, the homeless happen to be Black. Right? So I just wanted to understand the reasons why some people. Also, Kev Mays, you can leave my chat room. Thank you. I don't need you here. I'm trying to have a discussion about reparations and also trying to get tangibles for my people and also trying to feed the homeless. And here you are. And here you are worrying about how much you are a victim, right? So I just want to show you how I do this. So I put two sandwiches in the bag. Again, one Kool-Aid jammer or Capri Sun, Chewy bar, peanut butter stack, and a bag of chips. And that's what I give to everybody on the streets. And I know it's not much. It's not the greatest meal in the world, but that's not the point. The point is to help people. So if the government doesn't want to do this kind of work, fine, I'll do it. But I need reparations so that I can go ahead and do this more effectively on a much larger scale. I do this from state to state. I just need the resources. I don't have the money. And if this if that's the reason I want the money, who in their right mind is really gonna go against that, huh? Who? So right now I'm making some sandwiches for our Muslim brothers and sisters who are out there on the streets. They can't eat pork, and most of the sandwiches I made so far have been pork. So let me go and switch over to chicken. That's something that they can consume. So I want to be considerate, and I know I don't have to be because I'm paying for all this stuff. But they're people too. They deserve some consideration. They deserve love and care. So with that being said, I mean I'm gonna give them this chicken. If I can get this thing open, there it goes. And I want to give them this because I want to give them some options, you know. And I eventually want to have some vegan options. Let me grab some bread real quick. Give me a second. All right, there we go. So got a loaf of bread. We're going to go make some sandwiches for the homeless, for the less fortunate, for the people who are unsheltered, people who are unhoused, whatever you want to call them. People get into the whole battle of, well, you shouldn't call them this, you shouldn't call them that. Well, how about this? If you feel that way, let's go feed them then. You can call them whatever you want to call them when you go out there and feed them just like me. Right? So with that being said, I need reparations from this government because this government doesn't care about the homeless. The government doesn't care about people who live on the streets. I do. It's clear that I do because I want you to see the work that I'm doing. See, people love to tell me, oh, man, you're bragging. Oh, man, you're taking credit and everything else. But as soon as I don't do this kind of stuff, then you'll say, well, what are you doing on the streets then? So basically, they will demand that I offer proof. And then as soon as I offer proof, the proof is basically used against me. So that is the life of a black activist. It's darn if you do and darn if you don't, That is the life of a black activist. So right now I'm making some chicken sandwiches, some rotisserie flavored chicken from Walmart. I had to go Walmart because I had to be a little bit cheaper. So this is very, very expensive. We do this so often. We go out and we feed people on the street so often that it's very, very expensive. It's not something that you can do every single day, but we try to. And my wife makes a lot of money. My wife, who's a court reporter, she makes sometimes $8,000 to $20,000 a month. So she uses her money, her resources to feed the less fortunate. That's her activism, and that's something that she would make a lot more money if she didn't do that. But she chooses to because at the end of the day, she lives in this community, just like me. And so I want to be able to take care of my community. And I can't do that effectively if I don't have reparations so that I can go ahead and do that. So to the U.S. government and to anybody who's listening, this is why foundational black Americans need reparations. Because I'm here making ham and cheese and chicken sandwiches for people who live on the streets. And I'm doing it with my own money. I'm a combat veteran rated at 100%. That's how I get a lot of my money. And I take that money every month. I pay the rent. That's my side of the bills. But I take most of my money and I do this. And people got so much smoke from me. People got so much critiques and criticism for what I do. Do you see them doing this kind of stuff as often as I do? How many more videos you gotta see of me? I'll be doing this before I get any kind of credit. But that's okay though. I'm not in this for the credit. That's why I continue to do it despite all the criticism, right? People love to give you advice on how to do something, but then you ask them to go and do the exact same thing, and suddenly they've got no smoke. They've got no kind of answer for you then. So basically I need reparations so that I can actually go out and I can feed people on the streets. That I can do it more effectively. That I can go across the country and I can make sure everyone gets a freaking meal. Because you're a human being and you deserve a meal. I don't care what color you are. You deserve a meal. You deserve to eat. And yes, I'm going to have compassion for people who are poor because guess what? That could be me one day. That could be you. That could be my family. That could be my son. And so if it's one thing that I lead with on my channel, it is compassion. Compassion for the people who are at the lower rungs of society. I have no compassion for politicians or police officers or lawyers and the rich and people who own these big tech companies. I have no compassion for them. I have compassion for people who live in the streets, regardless of your color, regardless of your gender, regardless of your freaking sexuality. You want to know why? Because I never punch down. How can you look at somebody who lives on the street and think that they have any power, whereas you can criticize them in any kind of way? You got Jeff Bezos doing all kind of silly stuff. You got Elon Musk doing all kind of silly stuff. You got Joe Biden, Donald Trump, all these people doing silly stuff, right? But then you turn around, you look at a homeless person, you tell me they're somehow the cause of your problems? The homeless guy? Really? The homeless veteran? You know how many veterans who live on the streets right now? I'm a veteran too. Multiple time combat veteran. I'm rated at 100%. That's how I pay for all this stuff. And yeah, inflation has really, really hit me hard, and it's hit me in a way that I can't afford to do this as often as I want to. But I'm still going to continue, even if it makes me broke. I need reparations so that I can't sit here and spend the money that I earn from military service to do the job that these NGOs, these non-government organizations, and the government's supposed to be doing. The government's supposed to be doing this because that's why they tax us. They tax us to feed the homeless, right? They tax us to provide social services, right? They do that. They do that. So why in the world is it up to people like me, without reparations, without any kind of payment, without any kind of help or anything else? Why is it up to me to do this without reparations? If you paid me reparations, I could feed the whole country. I probably couldn't physically do it, but I would try. I would give it my best try. Because you see what I'm doing right now without reparations, right? Which is better than most, right? But I guarantee you that when it comes to some of these people out here, they're not going to recognize that. They're not going to recognize the community service that black people provide to this country every day. The black Muslims, the black churches. You look at some of the homeless outreach organizations. You look at America's First Paramedics. You look at the free food programs that the Black Panther Party started. We are known to do community service and feed the less fortunate and care for the less fortunate, because that's just who we are. Now, on this bag, I'm going to write chicken, because these bags are meant for, I got a few people out there who live in the streets who are Muslims. So I don't give them pork, of course, because you can't do that. That's actually offensive. So I give them chicken sandwiches instead. I got one in particular. His name is L, and he lives out there. Let me get some more caprice. Actually, I'm going to grab some hugs. Give me a second. All right, so I got some more drinks here. These are hugs. Just a little. All right, here we go. These here. So I got these here. Those are pretty awesome because they're a little bit smaller, can fit in the bag a little bit more. It's a little bit more bag friendly. Let me grab some more of my my peanut butter snacks. All right, so here we go. Got my peanut butter snacks and some more Chewy bars, and I got some Hershey's Kisses as well. So, all right, so I got those in there. And I need a bag of chips, and I need the peanut butter snack. So once again, what I put in the bag is I put a drink in there, I put a Chewy bar, I put a peanut butter snack, 2 sandwiches, a bag of chips. And that's it, actually. I'm going to put in some Hershey's Kisses as well. So for the bags that are a little bit smaller with the hugs, give them a few Hershey's Kisses, drop it in the bag, close it up, put it into my cooler, repeat process. So that's just what I do. This is kind of like, this is not really like a job per se, because I don't get paid to do it. But this is what I do. I spend a lot of my time doing this because when I came to Washington State and I saw people, you know, I'm from South Carolina, right? So you don't really see tent cities like that in South Carolina, right? So I spent more than 30 years in that state in South Carolina. And when I first came to Tacoma, and also a particular part of Washington State called Lakewood, that's in Tacoma, they say that Tacoma and Lakewood are 2 different parts, but it's really the same city. When I first came here and I saw my first tent city, I was so horrified. You know, I was horrified at the idea that people could just live next to that and think there's nothing wrong with that. I was horrified that people were living outside and didn't know. I mean, it's not unusual to find homelessness. Don't get me wrong. I've seen homeless people before. Don't get me wrong. But it was the apathy towards the homeless that I couldn't tolerate. That was absurd. You're looking at people who are poor, and you look at them as if they're bad people. It's like, okay, even if you cause your situation to happen, once you're there, how are you going to try to punish that person even more? Right? Why? Why would you? Why would you? So I need reparations so that I can actually afford to pay to go out and feed people, because this is very expensive. I'm taking my money that I earned from military service. I'm a combat veteran ready at 100%. That's how I'm doing this. And my wife, she makes 6 figures. We're taking our own money. And people say, oh, well, why don't you take them into your home, and why don't you feed them? We're trying. Sorry, we're only 2 people. We can only do but so much. So maybe instead of all the people out there giving me grief and criticism, right, you can actually help out. Because I'm doing my part. I'm trying to. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not going to be the perfect activist, but I'm trying. I'm doing something. And that's all that matters, right? So it's going to be chicken bags. So I'm going to just write chicken on. Let me get 2 more bags here. And I'm going to switch back over to ham in a second to get rid of the rest of the ham. Chicken, Chicken. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to start loading my bags up. So every bag has, once again, 2 sandwiches. And the reason why I want reparations one more time is so that I can afford to do this, that I can actually afford to go out and feed the homeless. Because I'm doing this with my own money that I earned from my military pension, pretty much. So two sandwiches in the bag, 1 hug drink. Get the peanut butter snack, chewy bar for energy. Hershey's Kisses, just because that's my wife. That was my wife's idea. She wanted to give him kisses, but she can't because of all the things that's going around. So she gave him some Hershey's Kisses instead. Pretty good idea. All right, so fold the bag up, and we are packing this down in there. So once again, I need reparations so that I can do this full time. I want this to be my full-time job. I want to feed the homeless full time, but I don't have the money to do that. And the government refuses to give grants to black people who simply want to go and do that. So what do you want me to do but demand reparations? I want it just not just for the suffering of my people, not just because of the fact that you owe a debt, but black people, especially black descendants of American slaves or foundational black Americans, freedmen, whatever you want to call us, we've been trying to fix this country little by little with little to no help from this government, with people like me doing stuff like this, trying to feed the homeless, trying to find ways to find funding, so I can try to find a way so that we can provide social services to these people who are living on the streets. Get them social workers, get them clicked in with healthcare services. But I can't do that if I don't have the money. I can't do that if I don't have the money. So bottom line is, if this country understands that we are owed a debt, we are owed a debt for slavery, period. We are owed a debt for that. If this country gets that, and they see that I'm trying to actually carry the load, I'm trying to go out here and actually feed people and make people's lives better, then give me my chips. Run me my chips so that I can go out and I can actually go into these black communities and actually fix the problems that the government refuses to fix. Give me the chips. Give me my money. If you give me the funding, if you pay all black people, I guarantee you we will take care of homelessness. We will take care of people not having a place to stay. We'll take care of it, but we just need the apparatus to do it. You can't expect me to fix things with no money. Can't do it. It's impossible. Let me get some more bread. All right, so I actually have another food item that I wasn't adding that I probably should have been adding. I have halos as well, so. I have halos as well, so. Once again, I spent a lot of money on this. I spent a fortune on this, man, and well, I on this particular batch, I got everything for under like $300, but in terms of how often that we do this, it's extremely expensive for us to do this. We are trying our best to feed all the homeless people, but I need reparations for slavery, for what this country did to my people, so that I can continue to feed the homeless the way that I want to. I want to fix the problem of hunger. I want to fix the problem of houselessness. It's not really homelessness, it's houselessness. I want to fix those problems. I want to address those problems. But I can't do it without funding. I need the money. I need for this country to run me to run me my chips. I want to fix the problem of homelessness. I just need the money. I want to fix the problems of hunger. I just need the money. I want to be able to provide legal services for people who are in trouble who can't afford a lawyer, but I need the money. If you run me my chips, I guarantee you I will do my very best. I may not be able to fix those problems, but I will try my dang on hardest. You have my word. But the problem with this country is that they don't recognize the contributions that my people have made to this country consistently. Consistently, we've tried to feed the homeless. Consistently, we've tried to make this country better. Consistently, we've tried to give this country good sound advice based on common sense. Common sense from the black perspective. And what has this country does every time? Ignored us. A disproportionate amount of the homeless happen to be black. That's why I care so much. They look just like me. How can I not care? A disproportionate amount of the homeless happen to be veterans. Black veterans at that. And I'm a black veteran. How can I not care? These are my folks. These are my people. I don't care what someone's argument is. At the end of the day, my people are my people. And I'm going to look out for my people. And I see where my people are being financially deprived. I see where my people are being told we got to wait in the back of the line. I'm seeing where my people are being told that even though we've tried to fix the problems of this country, we are still being told to wait in line. And I'm getting sick of that. My people can't wait any longer. I'm sitting here paying all this money, hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a few years' time, trying to solve the problem of homelessness, trying to solve the problem of hunger. You know how many bills I paid? I don't talk about it, but I paid a lot of them. A lot of people's lights stayed on because of me, and specifically my wife. We don't talk about that, but it's true. We don't talk about the fact that we try to take care of people over and over and over again, often against our own best wishes, but we do that because we recognize there's a problem in this country with hunger and homelessness. And the fact that this country refuses to give my people reparations so that we can fix these problems. Like, for example, you look at the LA City Council, that whole scandal, right? You remember you had a black woman. I don't know if you guys saw this. It's a black woman who got up in front of that council after the scandal had broke out. She says, listen, give us back all the money that you were given so that we can build low-cost housing. You don't care about the housing crisis in Los Angeles. We do. We black folks do. So give us the money so we can actually fix the problem. And they haven't given them the money back yet. Which lets you know they're not exactly invested in fixing the problem. Because the bottom line fact is, if you give us the money, we will fix the problem. I'll fix it. I know plenty of brothers out here. I know Micah Valentine. You got Lower Ninth Ward King. You got Dua. You got Elrico James. You got Walt Way. You got so many brothers out here standing 10 toes down who will actually stand for black people and also the less fortunate of any color. We will do that because that's what a strong black man does. That's what a strong foundational black American man does. That's who we are. It's in our DNA. It's always has been. We are darn near superheroes. Darn near superheroes. What I'm doing is not unusual for a black man, especially not one living in America. Because we live under the most oppressive system, and therefore we understand what we are up against. And therefore we understand the work is always on. We have to always work to make sure we can reach a more equitable future for everybody. But black folks, we are tired of sitting by being the bystanders, being the people who do all the heavy lifting when it comes to social justice. But then the second that we ask for anything in terms of compensation for all the work that we've done, all the suffering, the greatest crime in human history ever committed was chattel slavery in this country. The greatest crime in human history. And we all know it. So we're the ones who suffer the most. Fight the hardest, but are told to expect the least. Right now, what I'm doing right now, how many of your allies are doing what I'm doing right now? How many of them? Unless it's for personal gratification, it's for financial gain, it's for views and clicks. Because see, I've been doing this a little bit too long for it to be about views and clicks. And the fact of the matter is, my whole channel is not about feeding the homeless. It's about mostly holding police officers accountable. It's not usually about the homeless. This is kind of like a side hobby that I have. It's not about views for me. It's about me. This is actually a part of my activism. My research into how police treat the homeless led me into the conditions of the homeless, and it let me know that we have a collective apathy in this country, a collective apathy, and it really, I would say, the way that people demonize the homeless and the unsheltered, the unhoused, is that they use black faces. Don't get me wrong, they absolutely do. Because when people think of the homeless, they don't think of the poor white guy. They love to mention the poor white guy, but they never think of that when they think of the homeless. They think of us. So they will use the image of the poor black person to attack people, but really homelessness, it's not really a racial issue. It's something that disproportionately affects us. Don't get me wrong. There's a whole lot of poor white people that I'm speaking for right now, that I'm saying they need help, they need assistance, and we need a system that actually works for everybody. But the problem is, the only people who's ever been pushing that are black folks. The Black Panther Party, they pushed that. They didn't care what color you were, they fed you. They didn't care what color you were. If you needed help on your freaking bills, they would actually help you. There were at one point when the Black Panther Party was infiltrated by the government, there were apparatuses that they had to actually help people with their bills. They had that too, because they actually cared. These weren't just some militant, spies from like another country. These were people who were just common folk who wanted to be revolutionaries, and so they came from the communities. This is how you know that most of the Black Panthers you're seeing these days, I'm not saying all of them, I say there's a whole lot of good ones, but there's a lot of them who are informants. And with that being said, I need reparations so that I can go and feed the homeless. I can feed the less fortunate. I can feed the poor, whatever you want to call them. We get into this semantic battle about what do we call them. Listen, call them poor. Call them hungry. How about that? People always want to tone police. Are you sure you want to use that language? You sure you want to use that language, guy? Well, hey, do you want to help me go out and feed these people so that you can go out there yourself and call them whatever term that you want to call them? No? Okay then. All right, cool. Like I did take that one critique from one brother. That was Barton Law Firm. I love that brother. So I will take that critique for him because I understand where he's coming from. That brother means me no harm. He means me no harm. That brother's a good brother. I love him. So I will try to work on how I phrase things. But the one thing I do find interesting is how people say that kind of stuff. And yet when I ask them, hey, you want to come out and help me feed them? Oh, man, I'm busy. Oh, man. Oh, gosh, I don't have the time. You don't have the time, huh? But you're so concerned about what they're called. See? That shows you also something else. Who actually goes out here and does the work. Right? Because people who go out here and we do the work, we don't care about what you call people who we're serving. We just care if they get served. See, but that's the whole thing, though. That's the whole thing. See, I find it interesting how we get all these sudden activists who just pop up, who always want to come and lecture and critique you, right? You get people, right, who are white folks. They have resources because they have benefited from a system of white supremacy. But they want to tell you, the descendants of American slaves, that who's never gotten reparations, how you should fight your battle. And the one thing I want to tell those folks is, easy for you to say. Easy for you to say. You were given land just because you were white. MLK said that in 1967, I think it was 67 or 68. He mentioned this in a speech where he was mentioning that we were going to come to Washington to get our check. He said that specifically. That in the West and the Midwest, you had white folks who were getting land just because they're white peasants. And yet people want to come to us today and says, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. And I want to tell those folks, you must not know history. Because you want to talk about pull yourself up by the bootstraps, your folks never did that. Not even once. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So I wouldn't go there if I were you. Wouldn't go there if I were you. And the thing about reparations, it being paid in terms of of black folks getting justice is that we're the only folks, right, on this planet who's invested in getting more justice for others, including our own folks, after we get paid. So I'm talking about feeding the homeless with my money. We are the only folks. We are the only folks who will do that. The only ones. The only ones. And that is what makes us foundational black Americans. That's what makes us the foundation of the country. That's what makes us the morality of the country. The moral compass of the country. This is why when there's some massive police misconduct event and the world can see it and we're the victims, the world responds. Because the world understands that we are the moral conscience of this country. It certainly ain't white folks. It certainly ain't white folks. Let's be honest. It certainly ain't white folks. Okay? It's us. People don't believe all the fake crime stats you put out there. Oh, 1350, 1350. No one believes that. People know things are skewed. And the thing about it is, when it comes to reparations, one of the biggest reasons why I want it is so we can start funding our own police departments. We can start funding our own community services. We can start building houses in our own communities, and we don't have to rely on the federal government for anything. It'll be completely separate, just like the Native Americans. So separate and tribal. When it comes to foundational black Americans or freedmen, I'm pretty sure they're going to end up being called freedmen, because that's something that's a little bit more all-inclusive in terms of people that it may actually affect. So, but they may end up calling it freedmen, I'm pretty sure. But either way, we want our chips, because at the end of the day, a debt is owed. And this country will never reach the fullest extent of what it's supposed to reach until that debt is paid. You know, it comes down to that one, if you remember, there was this movie called The Color Purple. And the character Celie, who was portrayed by Whoopi Goldberg, said, "Until you do right by me, everything you think about is going to fail." And long term, America has been successful so long as it's had us here. But now that things have fast forward a little bit, everything's failing. Because you haven't done right by black people. Karma is a real thing. Let me tell you something, folks. Generational karma is a real thing. You don't test that kind of thing, man. If you do wrong by a people and you refuse to do right by them, what's going to happen is karma has a way of fixing you. Karma has a way of telling you you're not as bad as you think you are. See? And America's finding that out the hard way. Karma's not going to tolerate America's hypocrisies. Karma isn't. See, Lady Karma, ooh. Don't know if you want to test her. We deserve reparations because we are the community, the face of community service in this country. Not saying no one else does it. Not saying that at all. But where are the white militias like the White Panthers? I mean, they're all White Panthers, but we were the first. Where are all the militias like that support purely American freedom? Freedom from tyranny, feeding the homeless, finding people's health care, paying people's bills. You don't have an equivalent of that. This is why I say foundational black Americans, we're pretty much like superheroes. We are. I've been saying that. A lot of people gave some other people credit for that. I've been saying that, dude. In fact, if you look on my YouTube channel in my community tab, what you'll see is that for years now, I've been saying, you know, I kind of felt like a superhero. You know, we are. You know, you say that we're so fast, we're so strong, we're so everything else, we're so inventive with our music, but then you turn around, you stereotype us, right? Right, America? You stereotype us. And you give us so much praise and then turn around and oppress us. This is why I actually laugh when you get these white allies who show up and say, well, can reparations be this and that? White ally, why are you even having a comment on this at all? Why? Do you think that it's appropriate if Native Americans are talking about something that they're going to get, that you show up and start commenting on it? If you ain't Native American, and even if you are Native American, if you aren't even a part of that tribe, do you think it's really, really appropriate to be putting it down? And the strangest part about it is that whenever I bring up how we pay reparations to other groups, people will never concede that. They'll just say, "Oh, that happened a long time ago," and I'm sorry, like that's not an argument that's going to really, really help convince me. You want to convince me? You start paying back some of the money that my people paid in tax money towards reparations for other people. If not, I don't want to hear your opinion. See, the thing about you, if you look at what I'm doing now, I'm feeding the homeless. I'm actually putting together a package to go out and feed the homeless. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, right? You can't say I'm not, right? You can't say I'm not, right? So, with that being said, shouldn't the government put their money where their mouth is? Shouldn't they? Shouldn't they? Shouldn't they? Shouldn't you, fake ally, out there telling me, what about Native Americans? Don't they also deserve the same thing? You out there, fake ally, before you tell me all that, don't you think you should be doing what I'm doing right now, fake ally? Because my people didn't get reparations. We didn't get reservations. We didn't get casinos. We didn't get none of that stuff. And yet here I am doing this. How many Native American content creators do you see doing this right now? But they got all that though. And see, when people start talking around that, trying to record certain sections that I say, oh man, I'm going to attack you, and you're not changing my mind. There's a way to change my mind on certain communities and how they feel towards us. There's a way to do that, and it starts with honesty. But lying and trying to bring in other groups that have nothing to do with reparations, it's not working, is it? It ain't worked so far. I want to have an honest conversation about reparations. It needs to be paid. We all know it. We all know it. There isn't a single good counter argument against it. And everyone knows that. There is no counter argument against reparations, and everyone knows it. This is why most of the counter arguments that you hear are nothing but a bunch of trolley responses. Because here's the thing, right? You don't need trolley responses if you got an actual argument. And that's why these people, a lot of them don't like me. Because a lot of the tactics that they would usually use on content creators, it doesn't work on me. It's absolutely ineffective. And with that being said, I mean, I want to understand the mindset of someone who thinks that we don't deserve reparations. How racist are you? Like, how much do you not like us? Like, is it that bad for you? Is that bad for you? And even still, you get people say, well, I know a black person and I don't talk to them either. And I know what the Pew Research Center polls say. Most black people, even black Republicans, want reparations. So you mentioning a black friend that you, as you say, doesn't want reparations, or you being a black person in general and coming at me saying, oh, well, I don't want it. Speak for yourself. Because when I speak, I look at the poll numbers and I say I speak for an awful lot of black people right now. So don't be upset with me. You're seeing right now there is a political paradigm shift that's happening in the black community. And I'm a part of that, and I'm actually a part of that political paradigm shift. Now, just flagging me down, just trying to shut me down, that only makes it worse. Because as you can see, people have done that, and it's made it worse. It's made more people gravitate towards me, because all I'm going to do is just open up another social media channel, or just go to another platform and just grow faster. So it seems like the way to defeat me is to actually engage in honest conversation, and not in bad faith discussion. Actually, good faith discussion, because people can tell the difference. People can tell the difference. So, I realized that I got a lot of trolly comments in the comment section. I haven't even looked into the comment section in the chat. I know that, but I want you to notice what I was doing the whole time. I want to show you guys something, right? I want to show everyone watching this current live stream to see something. I want you to see how I'm sitting here freestyling everything that I'm saying, right, off the top of my head, while also packaging up bags to go feed the homeless. And do you know why I did? Do you know why I could be so effective and also working at the same time? I didn't pay attention to the freaking comments. See, people will, especially like, these white content creators, they will come to you and be like, hey, I want to debate. And they will supposedly want to debate you on something that there is no debate over. I want to debate you about what reparations should be. I'm not debating you. There's no debate with that. You see what I mean? So I want you to notice how effective I've been this entire time. I've made more than 100 bags of food here. You didn't even notice I made all that freaking fast, right? You see how fast I've been moving the whole time? Like a beast? See? This is what foundational black American men do. We're like superheroes. How many other content creators in other spaces do you see doing this? How many? Don't worry, I'll wait. But the person who's going to get the most flack, people like me. This is why it is so difficult to find activists who want to actually be an activist. Because the people who's going to give you the most trouble are the people who's supposed to be your biggest fans. It's unfortunate. That's how it bears out most of the time. That's how it bears out most of the time. That's how it bears out. And the part about that makes it so insidious, I guess, is people rather enjoy watching activists have a difficult time managing with people and working with people. I've always found it easier just to work alone. People always ask me like, who's my team, who's behind me, and I say, hey, I roll by myself. I'm my own band. I don't need your help. And a lot of people are kind of confused by that. They're like, so you work completely alone? Yeah. You don't have any help, no? I have goons. I have goons that show up to help me out in case there's some trouble with the cops. Let's just say that. But I mostly do most of my activism by myself. Well, me and my wife. And I have almost superhuman levels of energy. Like I have stamina out of this world. I can run up to 5 miles a day. So I'm not your average everyday person, don't get me wrong, but I do a lot of this work by myself because there's no debating when I'm by myself. I'm not going to argue with myself. But you get these people who are in these so-called organizations, these so-called activists. What'll happen oftentimes is that they'll want to tell you to control yourself and tame yourself so that you don't do too much work and make them look bad. Or they want to essentially, you have a lot of people who join these activist organizations who are very codependent. And I think a lot of you know exactly the type of person that I'm talking about. Very codependent. Very codependent. You know? And so they think that they can just walk up to you and start lecturing you as an activist or a black person, especially non-black people. They do this a lot. A lot of lecturing. And what happens oftentimes is there's a rejection there, and that person doesn't care for how you told them to go and play in the street. They don't care for that. So, you know, I'm working right now on trying to get this whole thing finished, but I want you guys to notice the effectiveness in which I'm moving. See, oftentimes when black folks are having conversations and stuff, we allow white supremacists and other people to interrupt us. We allow people to disrupt our energy. And if you simply say your piece, say your truth, move on, and keep it moving, what you're gonna know is oftentimes that these people who are these trolls and these naysayers and these ops and these agents, these informants, what you'll find is that they'll move on. Because once they figure out that they can't hurt your energy, then it makes them look more and more suspicious. See, people like people who show up in the comments trolling, right? What people are going to look at them saying, and they're going to say is, wait a minute. And listen, I didn't even look at the actual comment section yet, but I know there's a bunch of freaking trolls in there. I know that. What people are going to look at those people and say, wait a minute, this guy is making meals for the homeless and you're trolling? He's somehow a bad person? Really? He's somehow a bad person because he wants to cash for suffering that his people actually endured, and also so that he can feed the homeless more effectively. That's why he's a bad person. Okay. Cool story, bro. But no, I do this because I genuinely want to. And I just don't like it when people are looked down upon just because they're poor. That's so silly to me. Anybody can be poor. That's not a reason to look down on somebody. So you're poor. Oh well, you're poor. It is what it is. It happens. You know? But I think in people's darkest moments, we don't need to be looking down upon them. I think in people's darkest moments, we as the human species, as the human race, should respond with kindness and compassion. And if you are unable to do that, then you should really question your own humanity. If you look at a person who's living on the streets and you instantly think, well, what could they have done to deserve this? Please go seek help. If you can look at everything that's happened in this country over the past 2 years and you think that people out there are homeless because they just choose to be, go seek help, please. If you don't think there are people out there who are legitimately homeless, if not most of them, because that's a reflection of poverty, if you can't see that, go get help, please. And that's been my TED Talk, guys. I made 120 bags of food for the homeless. And I did this without looking into the comment section because I didn't want it to disrupt my energy. I love you all, and I want you all to be kinder to the less fortunate and to the poor. You know, if you're a fan of me, that's what I'm asking you to do. Be kinder to them. I love you all. Please be safe. Horns up. Peace out. That's a lot of other food that we got to give out to the homeless. We got a whole pantry full. But until next time, horns up. Peace out. Good night and good luck.